Good morning. It's Sunday morning. I can't even remember it is Sunday, but it is Sunday morning. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm here with a Sunday thought. Sometimes in life, everything doesn't always go the way that you want it to go, and results in confusion of thinking, reactions. We're never quite clear on where we're going or what we're doing. So, a couple of things come from that. Mm-mm. Excuse me, Rob. No. Wow, that was some interference. So I'm just getting back into shape here. One of the elements here is what's really important is that to take a look at where the confusion is actually coming from. Is it an event that's occurred and in your mind it's got bigger and more and uncertain and unsure? Is it a sense of direction of where you're heading or where you're going? A lot of it is what is your philosophy? Where is the philosophy going? What are you doing and how you're creating? The idea, first of all, is to recognize that everything is possible for you at any time. We don't have to get caught up in the confusion of ideas that go on in the sense of where and what is happening. Also, how much of your energy are you putting out or into a situation? Very often, something will be occurring and you'll get upset about it. Money is always a good, if you haven't got enough money, that always makes that very, very effective. You just don't know where you're going with that, what's happening, or what's going on. And so what will happen is that mentally you'll get confused and then you'll be worrying about that. And as you worry about that, you go along and then you become more and more and more confused. And so one of the elements here that is really important, excuse me, is to ensure that you are aware of where you're going and what you're doing. This is where goals become important. What are your goals? Are you aware of what you're doing? Are you putting a lot of energy in things that are not working rather than things that are working? So, when one reviews their life, when one looks at their life, how are they going to sort that out? And I think one of the things is sit down and look at your priorities. What is the most important? What is the way we can work with that? How do we maneuver or work in the direction that you're going in? Sometimes we need outside help with things like that. Sometimes we need someone to just go and talk to or get advice from or whatever it is that you need. And I find very often, excuse me again, when we get confused, what ends up happening is that we think we've got the answer, when in fact we do not have the answer. And so we get more and more upset. So when I talk about confusion, very often it's an emotional upsetness that happens. So as we get upset, we forget the goal. We forget where we're wanting to go. We forget all the other things that are going on. And what ends up happening is that we become more and more and more embroiled in how we wanted it, whatever that is, and how it is. So when we're looking at how it is and where we are, sometimes we have to go right back to the beginning and take a look at what is the goal? What is it you're wanting to achieve? Where are you? Excuse me again, my goodness me. Where are we wanting to end up? What advice do we need? What advice do we need in relation to the direction of where we're heading? Because the more we get confused in our minds, the more that will reflect in our lives, one way or another. Sometimes what happens unexpectedly, something occurs trying to say, wake up, and then we just get more embroiled in all the things that are going on. So, confusion tends to happen more when we're not clear. And how do we get clear? For those that have listened to me in January 1st, when we're doing anything about New Year's, about setting your goals of what you're wanting to create. And goals can be modified. They can be realized, well, they're not happening. So that what else is the next level of goals? But if you have a goal in mind, if you have a sense of the direction that you're going in, that makes things a lot easier for you. If you don't, what happens is that all the little things that go on add up to big things. So, you feel guilty, you feel resentful, you feel uncertain, and you carry that. And so, what happens, you tend to be looking backward rather than forward. And, just basically how the economics is going. Is there enough? Are you feeling that you're having to put out too much and you're not sure where the rest is coming in from? What is your spiritual awareness? Are you being spiritually fed or not? How is that working in relation for you? All of those things are important, because if you get confused mentally up here, where you're not sure and get agitated, what begins to happen? Things begin to fall apart. So the key is to recognize always everything is possible if you look at things clearly. Redefine the essence of your life. Redefine your goals. Is this one super important? If this one is not, I always write the goals down at the beginning of the year. And when I get a little off track, I'll go back and look, what were my goals for this year? What was it I was wanting? So that in doing that, what happens is it pulls you back on track. Because it's very easy with the world outside, or you book your reading or whatever, that you get kind of off track. Because when you've got a sense of your direction, when you've got a sense of where you're heading, where you're going, what'll happen, you'll find a peacefulness within you. You will find that you have your own answers. I believe we all know our own answers. We may not like them all the time. We may get confused by them. We may wish they'd go away. But the thing is that we know our own answers. And one of the things is to be really clear with yourself and not be afraid of how that looks. So when we talk about overcoming those confusions so that we have clarity, because that's the key, to be clear. I really think it comes down to knowing what your priorities are, what your goals are, where you want to go, how soon and quickly you want to get there. All of that element comes along and helps. And that is really knowing, what are you here for? What are you doing? What are you wanting? How's your spirituality? Are you carrying a lot of guilt or regret? Those are the guilt and regret, I find, leads a lot of confusion, which brings the whole energy level down. And that needs to be straightened out for yourself. You need to recognize that. If you have guilt and regret, you got to come to terms with it. Forgive yourself if you need to. Forgive somebody else if you need to. So the pathway of your life is clear. It's easy to walk that. It's easy to create that. It's easy to get where you want to go. So that's my Sunday thought, is that you will take a look at your life and see, is there confusion? Is there confusion about anything? Clean up your confusion, allowing yourself to be, and sometimes a little, excuse me, you might say straightforward, making sure that everything is clear. And then as you find everything is clear, then you can let go or do what you need to do to sort that out. And when you have that, then you begin to have everything where you need it and where you want it. So you guys have a good Sunday. Maybe taking a look at, where am I confused or not? Most of you will not be, but some will be. And that is the ones I'm speaking to. The second thing I want to say is I want to welcome the new subscribers that have come in. I also want to welcome just people watching, people looking. I appreciate that. I really appreciate every one of you. When next time I'll be up on air will be Wednesday at 9 a.m. Oh, excuse me. That isn't correct. I'll be tomorrow night at 7. Boy, how could I forget that? Mental mind treatments. And that's where we have lots of interesting things come up. Anyway, you have a good day. Welcome to it. Welcome to the beginning of the week. And I'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Bye now.
Sorry, I totally